Hello, I'm Matthew Gavidia. Today on the MJH Life Sciences News Network, the Center for Biosimilars is pleased to welcome Dr. Leslie Fish, Vice President of Clinical Pharmacy for IPD Analytics, and Jeffrey Casper, Vice President of Clinical Pharmacy for IPD Analytics. So, important litigation is now completed, and we now know the path to competitor biosimilars and adalimumab. Can you discuss the significance of this progress and what it means for adalimumab market in 2023?
Sure. So here at IPD, we have been watching for potential biosimilar Humira for quite a few years now. We thought there could have been a biosimilar launch as early as 2019, even 2020, and then 2021. But as we watched the trials proceed between AbbVie and these competitors, AbbVie was winning these trial cases. So the result of AbbVie winning, what's happened is biosimilar manufacturers of Humira have signed what's called settlement agreements. So they've sat down with AbbVie and signed a document stating that we won't launch our biosimilar product until X date. And currently there's about 9 settlement agreements signed. Within those 9 settlement agreements with 9 manufacturers, 5 of them have approved products already. One of the reasons why we speculate that the biosimilar manufacturers sign these so-called settlement agreements is that if they would have pushed and won in court early, they could have launched, but they probably would not have been able to launch with a full label. In other words, all the indications wouldn't have been there. So we speculate at IPD that one of the motivations to sign the settlement agreement is AbbVie then gave them the full label to come out in 2023. So again, there's 9 manufacturers that have signed, 5 approved currently, and there could be a number more on the way.
With at least 5 and potentially 9 adalimumab biosimilars hitting the market in 2023, what kind of an effect on pricing do you anticipate?
So the United States market has not been as robust in biosimilar uptake. We think that actually the Humira launch in 2023 could kind of be the launching point or turning point of biosimilar adoption in the United States. Humira could be to the biosimilars as was Prozac was to the generic patent cliff in the 1990s. Once Prozac hit, generics just took off and the utilization of generics became dominant. We think that Humira being a dominant product, that could be the same launching off point in 2023. Humira would be the first self-administered biosimilar. To date, all the biosimilars launched have been primarily professionally administered products, so that'll be unique to Humira. We also think that with all these competitors lining up, they're kind of looking for unique ways to differentiate themselves instead of just being another Humira biosimilar. So couple of points I'll mention is that Boehringer Ingelheim is going for interchangeability for their Humira biosimilar, puts maybe a different twist on their approval, give them a feather in their cap. Or a little bit different way to differentiate themselves is Amgen. Amgen is going to have a biosimilar Humira, but they're also going to have a family of biosimilar products and all their traditional biologics. So they'll have biosimilar Humira, Avastin, Herceptin, Remicade, and Rituxan, along with their own products, Enbrel, Neulasta, Neupogen, and Epogen. So they could come into a payer and kind of do a bundling thing where I'll offer you an array of biosimilar products, and that could be an edge to them.
Why are there so many adalimumab biosimilars in the works?
Well, money talks, I guess. Humira is the largest selling drug in the world, $22 billion in 2019, by far the largest biosimilar opportunity. But there's one hurdle that, even though it's a big opportunity, there is a hurdle out there in that in 2018, AbbVie launched a new version of Humira. It's a new formulation. It's the 100 milligram per ml. The original formulation was 50 milligrams per ml. The new formulation is also buffer-free and it has a smaller needle. And the purpose of that was to reduce injection site pain. In the payer world, we hadn't heard a lot of complaints about that, but it seems that the new formulation is catching on very quickly. So the new formulation was launched in July of 2018, 0%. If you look at where we are in January of 2020, they've already converted about 66% of the market share to the new formulation. So there's a question on how much of a hurdle that will create, because by the time we get to 2023, 80, 90 plus percent could be in the new formulation. And will it be an effort to get the patients to switch back to the traditional 50 milligram per ml formulation? The thought is that if the biosimilars come in at a big enough discount, money will talk again, the payers will convert the patients. But on the other hand, AbbVie could, go on the offense and try to compete on price with the biosimilars and maintain market share. So it remains to be seen how that conversion goes.
So Leslie, whereas biosimilars so far have been concentrated among a limited number of drug types, you anticipate biosimilars emerging for 14 new drug classifications by 2024. Can you discuss these developments and identify some of the most significant biosimilars that might emerge?
Yes, so I'm going to run through a few of them, which could be fairly significant. And I'm going to list them right now. So you could have Lucentis in 2020 to 2021 and Eylea in 2023. Another fairly significant one would be Tysabri, which could come around 2022 and 2023. There's one that I'm going to speak to, but a little bit later, Soliris on 2022, and I'm going to explain why it could be a very complicated situation. We also have Kadcyla in 2025 and Erbitux in 2023. Those are both oncology agents. Then we have Xolair in 2023, a potential Botox in 2023 or later, and Synagis in 2023. Looking at different classes, we have Stelara either in 2023 or 2024, Orencia in 2023 or a little bit later, Symphony in 2024, and Cimzia in 2024. Finally, we could see an Aranesp erythropoietin product in 2024. Aranesp could be competing with other ESAs, but it also could be competing with the hypoxia-inducible factor inhibitors, which would be at the end of this year roxadustat, which is an oral product. If that's approved, again, the Aranesp biosimilar would be competing with those agents, the HIF agents. So a few words about Soliris. Very interesting, as I said, there could be a biosimilar eculizumab in 2022. Right now, Soliris is approved in the following areas. It's approved for paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. I'm going to be calling that PNH. It's actually approved for atypical hemolytic uremic syndrome, myasthenia gravis, and neuromyelitis optica. And the reason that I'm telling you that it's approved this is because I also have to talk about another product made by the same manufacturer, Ultomiris. So Soliris is actually given often, Ultomiris, ravulizumab, IV, but it's given less often. So Alexion, the manufacturer, has stated for anybody with PNH that they would like to convert 70% at least of patients from Soliris to Ultomiris. Again, these are people with PNH. Ultomiris also has the atypical hemolytic uremic syndrome. It is going after the NMO, and it's also going after ALS. What Alexion also has stated that they've been fairly successful in switching people from Soliris, which has to be given more often IV, to Ultomiris. So what I'm saying is by the time the biosimilar eculizumab is approved, we actually could be seeing very few patients on Soliris because they've been switched over to Ultomiris. But something else that's happening at the same time is that there are two branded products. One of them is adalimumab, and another is satralizumab. Both of these pipeline branded products are looking to get approval in NMO, and they could also be around at the same time. So the Soliris biosimilar could see a lot of competition at the time it comes out. I'd like to say just a little bit of word about Kadcyla, because earlier I actually talked about Herceptin and the use of it and trastuzumab biosimilars, and saying, could there be any other products that actually are moved from Herceptin but moved to the branded product? And it's interesting because one of those products is Kadcyla. When patients, if the ongoing studies show that earlier use of Kadcyla is actually appropriate, when physicians move from prescribing Herceptin to Kadcyla. So it's quite interesting that this could be a biosimilar in 2024, really not that far along than the Herceptin.
So Leslie, will we see multiple entrants for one or more of these 14 classifications?
There could be, in certain of the ones that I talked about, there are definitely more than one.
So Jeff, there have been similar legal struggles to bring an etanercept biosimilar to Amgen's Enbrel to market. Can you tell us about the progress here?
Sure. So just to give comparison, on the Humira side, there was all kinds of court cases, and it really wasn't one decision that drove Humira to be launched in 2023. There was quite a few court cases and a legal web involved with the Humira situation. The Enbrel Amgen situation was a little more black and white. There was one court case. It was Amgen versus Sandoz. And on August 9th, 2019, Amgen prevailed. So what that means is it's highly likely that Enbrel will be launched in 2029 as opposed to anytime soon. Sandoz has appealed, and there's an opportunity that the decision in favor of Amgen could be overturned. But at IPD, we think that's unlikely, and we're planning for a 2029 Enbrel biosimilar launch. Competitors that have lined up for Enbrel biosimilar, there's two approved currently. One is Erelzi from Sandoz, the company on the other side of the court case. Their Erelzi was approved in 2015, but it looks like they're going to have to wait a number of years to launch their Erelzi. And then Itokovo from Samsung Bioepis was approved in 2019 as well. Both products have full labels. There's no concern about lack of indications in the labels, but it does look like we're looking at 2029 unless there's a change of events and the appeal is, the court case was overturned. Other candidates in line, Coherus Pharmaceuticals has an Enbrel in line, and also Lupin also is working on an Enbrel biosimilar. So not the double-digit candidates like you're seeing on Humira, but you are seeing quite a few, as opposed to a $22 billion Humira product. Enbrel's about a $5 billion a year product, so a little bit less competition.
And again, just to further stress, what is the market potential there?
Yeah, so just $5 billion on Enbrel sales, $5 billion sales in 2019 for Enbrel versus $22 billion, the highest selling drug in the world for Humira.
And finally, Leslie, do you have any thoughts on when we might see the first interchangeable biosimilar and what that might be?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So first, let me say that we're aware of, I'm going to give you 3 products that we think are attempting to obtain interchangeability designation. And you have to keep in mind, though, that these are potentially interchangeable products. We probably will not know for sure until the FDA approves them and they come out and we look at the labeling. That being said, there's an infliximab biosimilar for Remicade. This one is the Vichy Eco, and it will most likely not be out for a year or maybe a little bit more. We do believe that these studies have been completed, the studies needed for the interchangeability. The next product is an adalimumab product, the biosimilar for Humira, and this product by Boehringer Ingelheim called Cytelzo, it would be launched around 2023. We actually also believe that they're doing the studies for the interchangeability, and that we do believe that those have also been completed. Lastly, there could be a biosimilar for Novolog or insulin aspart by Sanofi that could be interchangeable. And it does look like those interchangeable studies, or the studies needed for interchangeability for that product, have been completed.
To learn more, visit our website, thecenterforBiosimilars.com. I'm Matthew Gavidia. Thanks for joining us.